Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Almost running a minute late right here. I had to get my microphone. The microphone wouldn't plug in, wouldn't turn on. I don't know what's going on with my Rode microphone. But thank you guys for joining me for the early morning stream. Now I do have a lot of stuff going on today. We have a soccer tournament that is going on. We also do have some things to do for work. So again, thank you guys for joining me. If you have questions about AFK Arena, I want to run through here on the YouTube account. I'm stuck at 6352. So I've tried a ton of different times, ton of different attempts that we have auto battled this. I cannot get through 6352. It's been incredibly difficult. So unfortunately, we haven't been able to get through here at all. So I don't know. I'm thinking it's just kind of more levels. But again, thank you guys for joining me this morning. Let's go ahead and kick this off. And I think it's working properly. We make sure kind of everything is linked up together, which it does look like it finally is. Sometimes YouTube does run a little bit behind, it runs a little bit late. But going through here, I want to collect up all of my rewards. Now, fast rewards, this is a question, of course, that I do get from a lot of players, is fast rewards. I collect all the way up to the 200 diamonds. So looking in here, and the reason is when you look at the resources that we now get within fast rewards, they have just kept systematically adding more and more rewards to this for an extended amount of time. We have the cores in here, we have the essence, we have the shards in here, we have the baits, we have the poke coins, we also do have the regular essence. This also gives us our gear in here. This also gives us a lot of other things that you wouldn't get anywhere. A good afternoon. I figured, Crash, that a lot of different places it would be afternoon. Some players even said that it would be late streams for some individuals. And I knew if I wanted to stream today, which I absolutely wanted to, it would have to be a little bit earlier so I could hop on here and get this done. It does give us some gear out of here. Again, I use my 100 diamonds in here, and I know it does add up when you're dropping a couple 100 diamonds in here. So I do this about 5 times every single day. But the fast rewards will give me, of course, a ton of essence as well, which is huge. So when I'm going in here and picking up all of my essence and starting to gain levels for all of my heroes, it does make a really big difference. Hopping in here, boom, Guild Hunt rewards. Team Hunt has started, so thank you, Vec, for starting that. Now, what do you guys think of the the Star Zone? The Mystic Star Zone is actually a game mode that we've had a lot of iterations of, that we've actually changed this quite a bit. And I feel like it's at a point where I'm pretty happy with not only the rewards, but the time aspect. So it looks like my ore might have been stolen in here. As you can see, we're literally just right there with the second team in there. There's no qualifying ores, which means I'm going to have to take one of these middle ores. Now, of course, the way that we see this and the way that we kind of talked about this before is looking at this game mode is contributing in some means, contributing to your score, even there adding on another 18 points right there, does make a big difference versus just not collecting anything at all. So make sure if you're running this, if you're playing this with your guild, that you are getting your resources out of this game mode. It is huge. Good morning to you. It's currently the evening. Yeah, that's what I figured for a lot of places. Finally a stream. What's going on, Dennis? In the first afternoon stream or the early morning. How's Entendre doing? So Entendre, she's actually been used in a couple different places. Let me take a look at the Cursed Realm in the Nightmare Corridor. And I know the Treasure Scramble. Now remember, Entendre is still really early with the release of Entendre. Let me look at January here. So we still have Baden. And it's interesting when you start breaking down and looking at these combinations, because when you think of the heroes that are here, is we have Baden, which we know is a first generation awakened hero. We do have, and here is Oden. That is actually the skin for Oden. We have Naruko in here. So pretty interesting. And if you caught the beast guy that we were kind of talking about yesterday, is you can see right here is the Shroom Spooter. Looking in here, we have the awakened version of Shamira and Belinda with the owl in here. Again, the beast being in the top tier. We have Rem in here, and then of course Panda. Panda is still just doing amazing in so much content. And there's Entendre. So when we look at Entendre, there's been a few different formations that we're seeing her being run, and she is by far the best in slot. So essentially, if you're taking Entendre out of this formation, you're not going to have the same formation. It would change up the formation. So some of the heroes are easy just to kind of slot in a different place. With some of them, it does require formation, because even looking here, You're running Ivan with Entendre, so Ivan is going to provide that shielding aspect for Entendre, really boosting up the damage. Then we have Nyla as support. We do have Hildwyn in here, which is a lot of a support, even though he's a mage. And then, of course, we do have Rimuru down here, which again is a mage, but is a very, very heavy support. So you have this whole entire team built around Entendre and the damage that she is doing in there. So honestly, do I think she's good? I think it's still very early. I think she is going to be used a ton of different places. And here we have Lucius. Now, this is another interesting formation. And again, a lot of players kind of wonder about this because this is a really interesting formation because we have the Awakened version of Lucius that is doing a ton of damage. The Awakened version of Leica, who was right here in the bottom, not really doing anything at all. And then, of course, the final one is the Awakened version of Athalia, and looking at Liberta in there. And, of course, looking at these two, when you think of the tier list, looking at the Awakened version, again, of Athalia and Liberta, they are the SSS tier. They're literally the top tier heroes with utility that are in every single game mode. So, yes, she is definitely being used. Do I think she's going to be good? I think she is. I'm surprised. I know we thought we were going to see her in the Nightmare Corridor, which I'm wondering. Let's check out Blossom's formation. So there is Gwen. Now remember, the Cursed Realm is a lot different than the Nightmare Corridor because the Nightmare Corridor is about very instant burst damage that we're seeing with these heroes. The Awakened version of Gwen right here is one of the reasons why I'm kind of slacking when it comes to the Nightmare Corridor, is that team doesn't work very well. I have to switch out a couple different heroes. And then, of course, look at this. The Awakened version of Baden again. It is kind of insane that we are still seeing this hero after all this time. There is Athalia that we see. Liberta is in there as well. There is Vika. Now, this is kind of a one-off based on kind of the boss, kind of how she works. This, I don't feel like is going to be sustainable, that we're going to see Vika in a lot of formations. The Awakened version of Thane. And then, of course, the last one is Scarlet. Scarlet is still one of the biggest burst heroes that we have within AFK Arena, which is kind of crazy. I tried the trial version. Her survivability is very low. Yes, and that's why, Ali, when you look at the survivability of the Awakened version of Entendre, that is the reason why the hero is being run with a bunch of support heroes. And then, of course, when you start looking into the PvP aspect, so actually going in here, and we're 82, ranked 82 right now, so doing pretty good in here. When we start looking at some of the formations that we have in here for the ranking, again, you'll see a lot of the same names that we just seen. Right there's Blossom. But looking in here and looking at the formations, we can see that some players were actually using, and I feel like, of course, the Awakened version of Entendre is probably going to be used when we start getting to more multiple teams, once we figure out exactly where she's going to be slotted. But again, when you look at the Nightmare Corridor, the Cursed Realm, and now the Treasure Scramble, it's pretty much all of the same heroes. We have Lucius in there, there's Liberta, there's Shamira, there's Leica. A lot of the heroes are just literally an overlap. Even right here, there's Rem, there's Shuna, there's Amelia. You're going to see just a lot of overlap with the heroes, which of course is the power creep, which of course is the best in slot heroes for all of those. Just got Awakened Shamira Ascended, and then they released another one. So that's normal. So a lot of times, Saban, is that's what it is. That is the design of AFK Arena, is you're always kind of chasing the most current hero. And again, that is kind of by design. That it's never going to stop. Even new heroes right now, we know there's new heroes coming, and a lot of players were almost questioning, what is going to be the release schedule, because we know the release schedule currently is every 2 weeks, but the question is, what is the release schedule going to look like now that we have the Draconic heroes? So putting them into kind of the mix means that we're going to have less heroes of the primary four. Even the Celestial, the Hypos, it seems like adding another faction in makes a really big difference in this game, because putting in the Draconic heroes did mean that they're going to be released on a regular schedule. I'm assuming they're going to be released on a regular schedule. And again, that was a question a lot of players did have. Are we just going to see one of these heroes dropped, within the 2 week period? Or are they going to release these heroes like they did kind of systematically by themselves? We don't know. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like. That's my Veldex said, I wonder how long Baden will hold on. That was my thought. So a lot of players had thought the awakened version of Baden would have already fallen off by now, but he hasn't. He's very unique in his build. Just having the shadow hero in there, especially having a bunch of heroes that buff up the second form of him, he does work very well. And as you can see, we're still using him in a ton of different places. Probably one of the coolest hero designs overall when you look at the build of this hero. And again, similar to the awakened version of Chimera, very interesting. Do you think the awakened version of Athalia will fall off? The big thing, Kai, is when you look at a lot of the heroes, even looking at the awakened version of Athalia, which is still, one of the top tier heroes, is the hero going to fall off? Honestly, probably not. The hero's probably not going to fall off. Now, you might see the hero used a little bit less, but also remember, like we were just saying, is we're running a multitude of teams, meaning that she might not be, at some point, she's not going to be the best in slot. I mean, we've seen the exact same thing kind of talking through when we had Ainz. Ainz was the absolute dominated everything in AFK Arena. Even when you look at the hypos, Lucretia was the absolute dominating of everyone. And then we've seen the same with exact Rem. Rem was run in every single formation, was just crushing it. There's going to be a point in the time where the awakened version of Athalia doesn't, but it doesn't mean even today, again, looking at some of the other heroes, that they're not still being used in some of the game modes. Now, looking at Ainz, we're 2-3 years down the road. Yeah, they are kind of down there. Chimera 5-star when, yeah, Chimera 5 stars, we can do a couple summons. I pulled one more copy of her. Now, of course, remember, I finished out Antandro. We finished out Athalia with some really, really lucky pulls that we had in there. Yeah, Chimera definitely needs to be done. And the big thing with this is when we're getting these heroes, and even if I have the opportunity or I do pull another awakened hero, is if they're at 5 stars, I actually have the ability to swap the copies. Just like I did with that awakened version of Belinda. I had a couple copies in there, so we swapped the copies to other heroes, and I want to continue to do that. I definitely want to continue Major to do that in kind of keeping them out there. Still a little progression in the Dragon Forge. Yes, so let's talk a minute. I think we had a question though from Scriper. I have awakened Belinda, Athalia, Chimera, and Leica. Who should I build next? My Mauler Tower is a little behind. Yeah, I would probably go, and honestly, I would probably wait a couple more days. Sophia would be a good build, but Antandro will carry the tower. So that's kind of the big difference, right? Cypher, between the two is when you look at the Awakened heroes, when you look at the Awakened version of Sophia, because she is a support hero, she is not going to be a solo carry within the Mauler Tower, where Antandra definitely could be. But again, Antandra does need some support with the survivability. So right now we know Sophia works incredibly well, but we don't know exactly where Antandra is going to be. But again, you put some support heroes around Antandra, you even run her back row, it will work incredibly well. Yeah, Baden, I don't know. A little progression, yeah, like I said, is the signature item 40 for Antandra a must? No, it's not. So a lot of these, like right here, during duels, when Antandra takes fatal damage from an enemy other than the duel target, she becomes immune. This is not a 40, not a required 40 at all. The stats are good to have, but looking at the 40 ability, there are chances when she's going to be in combat that she doesn't take fatal damage outside of the enemy other than she's dueling, which means, and I don't like some of these because this is very, very situational. If you're going through and you're running, a regular formation and she doesn't take the fatal damage, this is not going to do anything because it doesn't trigger the effect that is in here. Again, it's situational. A 30 would be fine on her because anything, especially when you're reading these, again, if she doesn't take fatal damage from another enemy, it has no point short of the stats, which of course the stats with the power creep are pretty good with the physical pierce and the erosion. Gonna have to build some very specific collections for her. I've been building up and really saving up all of my totems within the collections to build them up a little bit later. Yeah, I did the same, Bobo. I went really big on her. Still getting some more furniture. We'll see. Can you make videos about the campaign, please? So the big thing with the campaign, and the reason being, it's hard to make videos in the campaign because I can go through and I can show you campaign formations. I can show you the campaign formations that I use, but the easiest way is the formations tab right here has this recommended formations tab, which is this very first one. This will give you recommendations that are based on your formation. So that is where it gets super hard or very, very particular to build the formations, because I don't know what heroes you have. So this, of course, is going to be wildly, honestly, it is going to be wildly different from player to player based on the heroes that you have built, based on the heroes that you have. So even looking through here, like I said, I could go through here. I could show you a bunch of these formations. You know, right here is the Thorn Cheese. We have right here with Mahira with kind of almost like the Charmazard. We have the Rem comp in here, again, with a ton of crowd control. Belinda within that one, and then Matria within that one. But again, if some of these heroes in formations you don't have, it's never going to make a big difference. What's going on, Jordan? Thank you for joining us for the early stream. Yeah, so that's where it's kind of hard with the video, with the campaign teams, is because it is going to vary greatly between formations. Because again, we come in here and let's say you don't have Thorin. Okay, well, this formation changes 100% entirely based on not only the you know, the chapter that you're in, the stage you're in, but also the heroes that you have. That's why I do love they did the recommended formations. And again, it is based on the heroes that you possess. It does work very, very well. After 80 pulls, I finally got my last copy of Gwen to get her to Mythic. I saw on Reddit that Awaken Fully Kit is really... So the big thing with Lucius is Lucius has the power to buff himself. That is the big thing. That is why we did build Lucius up a little bit further. Because when you look at his SP effect, and again, when you look at kind of the unique SP effect, so the bonus gains additional attributes. This is the reason why Lucius needs a bigger build, why Lucius needs a larger kit. Attack rating is increased by 100% of his initial defense rating. So if you're buffing up his defense rating, it is going in conjunction to the attack rating, making him a lot stronger. The crit block rating goes for the crit rating, and then of course the crit amplification. So you have a hero that is high in defense, that is buffing attack. You have crit block, which is giving him more crit. And then, of course, crit damage amplification is going to make those crits do more damage based on his resistance. So if you're building him out fully defensive, like we have here, he's at 72. If you're building him out fully defensive, it is going to give him all of the attack attributes, which is kind of the interesting build because he's very unique in that matter. I'm probably going to take him to 80 just because he is pretty close, but I'm starting to save up some resources to see exactly what we got. As a free-to-play, is Shuna or Rimuru worth it? So Shuna is absolutely 100% worth it, but get the heroes. As a free-to-play player, we cannot stress that enough. When it comes to Rimuru, when it comes to Shuna, get the heroes. You have to have the heroes. Because essentially what happens, and again, I know we've talked about this a little bit, is when you look at heroes like Joker and Queen. So Joker was being used a little bit. Queen was not being used at all. And then, of course, Queen was incorporated into the 5-pull. With Queen being incorporated into the 5-pull, she was used for about the next 12 to 18 months. And it was about 7 months after the initial release that we seen Queen's viability actually come out. That is why I do recommend getting both of the heroes. I know it is kind of a hit to the resources because it's going to take you a while to get those, but having the heroes versus not having the heroes, even if I had the hero and let's say later down the road we get a dimensional tower where the hero is going to be used, you have to have the hero versus not having it. I would absolutely have the heroes, and it's very important that you have the heroes because if the utility ever comes up, and even for Rimuru and Shuna, they're both being used in a couple different places. When we looked at the Cursed Realm and the Nightmare Corridor, they were being used. Treasure Scramble, they were both being used. So they're being used. And again, that's one thing that we talked about with Rimuru, is it seems like with this hero specifically, it is a lot more of a support like what we see with Gavis, where it's not going to be a primary damage dealer looking at stats, looking at numbers, not huge there. But as a support hero, he does incredibly well, which is the big reason why, again, having Rimuru, having Shuna are going to be important. to definitely get those. What's going on, Kai? Tried Entendre in the trials and she felt, yeah, high level deficiencies. That's very specific. So even where we're at, high level deficiencies on Tundra, same with what we've seen with the Awakened version of Lucius. They just got crushed. They really, really got crushed every single time. When we started looking at probably the 200 plus deficiency, there was no way they could hold their own. But then if we threw Entendre in there with Alna, it worked incredibly well as long as we kept Entendre alive, which of course is support or crowd control going to keep her alive. She did very well. I missed the first part of the stream. Have you given your insight? A little bit. Entendre, again, I feel like Entendre is still a little bit early. We're going to see her coming up, and I feel like she's going to be used a couple different places, especially when you get multiple teams. She seems like she is going to be, I didn't even know about, the recommended formations, Arthur. Yes. So this is probably the biggest change that they did. So this formations down here, the recommended formations, like I said, this is based on heroes you possess. So if there's a couple heroes that you don't have, and especially it's important when it comes to the newer or the awakened heroes, where if you don't have any copies of it, they are not going to include it in the formations. It is worth it. Is there any tier list for awakened heroes, but in mythic tier only? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think there's any tier list. And the thing is with the mythic only, if you're building an awakened hero, Susan, up to the mythic version only, you want to build them out their entirety, because remember, with all of our awakened version of these heroes, is if you have mythic, if you have the signature item, you are going to unlock this skill. You're going to be missing the furniture skills. You're going to be missing the engraving skills. So really, a half-built awakened hero only possesses half of their skills. So really, there's no reason that you should take a hero to mythic. When we start looking again, priority, and I think someone had asked, what is the first awakened hero to build out? Personally, ideally, I would build out the awakened version of Athalia. When you look at this hero, the build of the hero, the damage of the hero, the utility of the hero, for an awakened hero, the awakened version of Athalia and the awakened version of Shemira are still the two heroes that have the highest utility in here, which is really, they're being used in every game mode. That's, I mean, when you go through a bunch of different places, even when you're looking at the campaign, Shemira's in there, Athalia's usually in there. They're both usually in there. When you look at Temple Rift, again, still being used. But even looking at like the Dragonforge trials, we're still using these heroes in there, which does work incredibly, incredibly well. When is the next Awakened hero? Usually 2 to 3 months. So remember, we have 2 more, guys. Right now it is June. We have 6 months. They release it about every 2 to 3 months. We see an Awakened version, which means we have 6 months left of the year. Well, almost 5 months left of the year. 2 more Awakened heroes, which one is going to be a Wilder, one is going to be a Graveborn. So we know there are 2 more Awakened heroes that are coming down the pipeline. We know they're coming. We already know, again, it's going to be a Wilder now. Who it's going to be, a lot of questions around that one. And of course, let me know in the comments who you think it's going to be, because a lot of players are saying it's going to be Lorzen, which would be kind of interesting. But we've also heard Tassie in here. A lot of players had a really, really good call when it came to Leica, the Awakened version of Leica. Newer heroes, I don't think they would do, but a couple older ones, it seems like they are doing, but they are not going to the really old heroes. And that's what I've kind of noticed is looking in here. And I don't know, yeah, I do like Kaz, and I like, if you guys are familiar, and I know what's going on D2, they just released Almas over in AFK Journey, which was pretty cool to see. And AFK Journey, unfortunately, I'm not playing it as of right now, but Almas was reintroduced over to AFK Journey. So it'd be pretty cool for them to do an Awakened version of Almas here, based on how well he does over there. It would be cool. And I like the Tassie. Tassie was another one that I feel that we could see a really, really cool Awakened version of a hero. And then, of course, looking at a Graveborn, a lot of players want to see Isabella. This is the one that we see a lot of times. And a lot of players also do want to see Pharrell. Those are 2 that a lot of players have said, you know, that they really do want to see built out. Yeah, focusing for the first Awakened hero is Athalia. I would do Athalia. And again, Shemira works incredibly well, but Shemira does require a pretty decent build. The Awakened version of Athalia will work without the build. And of course, you get this SP effect that the Awakened version of Athalia brings. especially early. It works very, very well. Awakened Entendre in 400 level deficiency is broken. There we go. So Alna is also used in PvP with Rem. Yeah, there's a lot. Alna is still awesome. That they are still getting there. My first red chest. Oh yeah, the red chest in the Mystic Star Zone. I still haven't seen it yet. I'm still O for everything. How long do you think Awakened Leica is going to stay relevant? Yellow, I feel like the Awakened version of Leica is going to be relevant for a couple different reasons. And the big one is she's very unique with the delay coming in. She does a considerable amount of damage, but it's almost like even though she does damage, like what we've seen within the Cursed Realm, is her abilities are pretty solid, built within formation, even if she's not doing the primary damage dealing. The delay coming into combat is where a lot of kind of what Zolrath does, but that's where a lot of players do kind of like the hero and really building it in. Is Hildwyn good? Hildwyn is good, but Hildwyn is a pretty solid support hero. So even though it is a mage classification, again, kind of like Gavas, kind of like Rimuru, not doing primary damage dealer, but as a, kind of a secondary damage dealer, as a protection hero, as you can see with the big shields on his arms, does do incredibly well for the role that it's built. And sometimes when it comes to AFK Arena, they make a mage like a pure mage, like what we've seen with Eugene, that is just kind of a straight up damage dealer. And then a lot of the times we see kind of the blend of the mages where it is a lot more support, a lot of the shielding, a lot of the energy. And again, there's two different ways that they kind of build the mages in this game. If you look big picture at the class, and that is how they do it. Either a primary damage dealer like what we see with Ainz, and then of course kind of the support mages, which we see quite a bit out there. So he's pretty good. Yeah. And again, the stalling enemies, like what Kai said right there towards endgame, he does lack the damage. Same as Rimuru, we are seeing the very lack of the damage. Tassie is a good choice lore-wise. Yes, definitely Tassie is a good one. Awaken, that would be crazy if it was an Awaken Daemon. That would be pretty cool if we seen the Awakened version in there. I'm new to the game. I got Belinda. Should I start over and get Athalia or Shamira? No, Belinda is good. And the big thing with Belinda is another one that will work incredibly early. And if you're getting the heroes for free, absolutely. I would absolutely go and build them out. As a free-to-play player, which Ascendant Mauler should I go for first? So the Maulers itself is Naruko. So when you think big picture of the Maulers itself, this little tiny tank Naruko is can do everything. When you think of, again, kind of carrying through the towers, if you're going for just an Awakened one, yes, Naruko will do incredibly well because of Nadia. Nadia, of course, is the giant worm. I don't know if she brings the worm up in here, but she does have a giant worm that is kind of an off tank and can tank incredibly well. And the worm does also get all of these support buffs, which makes it really hard to kill a lot of times. Naruko is one that you would absolutely do. What do you think about the Awakened version of Taylene? Taylene's not used anywhere anymore, short of the tower. And even if you don't have the Awakened version of Taylene, she was the very first Awakened hero that we've seen. Unfortunately, not being used anymore at all. Not at all. The Awoken Pippa. That would be kind of cool. Let me see if I got some cards in here. Let's do some summons, and I want to do some beast summons as well. So let's hop in here. We have our red furniture card. I have to remember about that one. Let me pop, and we don't have any. We do not have any summons in here. I thought I did do them yesterday, but regular summons. Let's see. And again, we're going to be building up the Awakened version of Shamira. So I know Major was just asking about it. Yeah, we have 1, 2, 3 more pulls with Shamira. And I've been going in here. We got some more scrolls in here. Let's see. What do we got? So we have 1 there. We have 2 Maulers. We have no Wilders, guys. And then we have 2 Graveborn. So we can do some summons. Unfortunately, we're running out of heroes to actually summon and running out of heroes to build. But we're recycling everything. And the Elder Tree is so close. We need like 4 levels on the Elder Tree. And then the Elder Tree in its entirety will be completed up to the max level. Then we can start just stacking resources to build the Elder Tree out. So nothing good with summons. That's okay. Nara would have more. Yeah, Nara would be cool. That would be kind of crazy. Yeah, Poppy. It would be kind of crazy to see the Awakened version of Nara. I'm going for Awaken Hendrik next season. Yeah, reason we got the Dragon Gwen. It's interesting how they did those. All right, so guys, fingers crossed. We got 3 summons here. Let's see what we can get out of here. We got some Stargazer cards out of, I believe, the tower. And of course, we are getting collections. When it's building these collections, I am super happy. And there we go. There's another copy. But I'm very, very happy that we did have the ability to get the Awakened collections, or getting those collections in here. Overall, with the summons, big picture, it's going to take a while to get those collections and get those collections built. But now we have an opportunity to. That's really the biggest thing that I noticed is coming in the Stargazer, coming in the Temple of Time. Even though they're pretty limited, we have a chance to build those up, and that is what we need. That's what a lot of players were kind of upset about. When it came to the collections, there was 0 probability to building any of those at all. And now we do have at least somewhat of a chance to get something out of there. Asking for a video on the best 4 faction heroes and on what formation they're used for free-to-play players like me. The best 4 faction heroes? What do you mean, Veldex? Let me know. If you mean like specifically like Graveborn heroes, or were you thinking something more specific? Are Gavis and Awakened Lucius a must-have? I don't know if we should expend on them. Gavis is not. So Gavis is one where if you don't have Gavis, there's a couple different support heroes that can replace Gavis. I wouldn't build Gavis out right now. The Awakened version of Lucius is the best in slot in a couple different teams. But again, Gavis, I would not build out. I wouldn't spend a ton of resources on if you already haven't built him. And again, Gavis is weird because we thought Gavis and Eugene would be running together all the time. And it doesn't seem like that's the case. Very, very rarely do we see Gavis and Eugene together. But again, is it a must-have? No, not at all. The Awakened version of Lucius isn't even a must-have. Remember that you can borrow heroes. And this is something that I actually did for years, is when you come in here and you actually look at your friends list, which should, and make sure that they are all active on here. Let me see. 2 days for Wicked, 14 hours. So 2 days is the cutoff. I'm going to have one spot right in there. But looking at short term, guys, borrow heroes. You can use, even if you wanted the Awakened version of Lucius, if you can borrow a Awakened version of Lucius copy, you don't have to build the heroes. I used the Awakened version of Baden for years just based on borrowing the copy of the hero, which I recommend for you guys. Don't really undermine or don't undercut the ability to borrow the heroes. It is a game changer. There is one more for Shamira. I want to use all of these poke coins, and I also want to use the baits. There is Tarnos. Finally, guys, there is Tarnos. That takes him to the 9 of 9. Now, if you guys remember, I swapped Tarnos for Wukong. So we're going to have to actually build up Wukong once again. But we did swap him out for Wukong. So I'm going to drop him out, and let's see, who do we have for furniture in here? I'm thinking, who do we got in here already? So we got Rimuru, we got Shuna. We have a lot, again, a lot of these we have a big build on. Damage-wise, I'm going to drop, let's just drop Blend in there right now, because I think we only have, what, 1 summon in here? But yeah, we're starting to get all of these furniture. In Awakened Athalia, we already have maxed out at a 36 furniture. So not only, and a lot of players don't realize that you can get more than the regular furniture. Yes, furniture does go to a 36. Even looking here, we have 111. And I think this is what we're focused on building. The tenacity is right there. This one is the crit damage resistance. And then the middle one, we are possessing the crit block. So all of them are defensive. I'm just going to go ahead and build this one. We'll throw on our extra piece. Boom, giving the tenacity. That way she's actually not crowd controlled. 3 more right there. We're going to save those to see who is coming up, because, of course, Entendre is good. Do you think Lady Simona can carry Chapter 32 in a second team? Definitely could. Now, Lady Simona is a pretty unique hero within AFK Arena, and we have seen her actually used a ton of different places. Damage-wise, in the right formation, Lady Simona can be your big damage dealer. You just have to have the protection in there, and also if you got some support heroes to boost up what she can have. +1 that request. Yeah, let me see. Usually when we go in here, the friend setting, friend request, there's nobody in there right now. So if you drop one, it is first come, first serve. Guys, we always keep this open with any of the players if they're in there. What's going on, Slim Killa? I got 5 legendary totems in Temple of Time. Yeah, and that's it, Bobo. Is it gives you a chance. That is the absolute biggest thing within AFK Arena is when it comes to, you know, even going in the store, is I've been buying these out and I've been buying my arcane staffs out every single day, giving me 30 staffs a day, which means that we can do some summons in there. But again, every 10 days we can do 1 summon, 3 summons a month. But now in conjunction with getting essentially all of those collection items, all of those totems out of the summons themselves, it's given us the opportunity to actually build out something within the Ghoulish Gallery. And of course, we've been going through a lot of this and just recycling stuff, but looking in here and having the ability to actually do pulls and to actually be able to combine some of these is really, it is a game changer. As much as I don't like the collections, and I still think this needs a big overhaul, is I'm starting to accumulate some of these legendary bizarre totems, which is cool. Because then again, we can do the summons. Now, did they do this? They did. Finally, I've been doing this the last couple weeks. There we go. We'll go ahead and sweep that and be done. Now, of course, once you get to a point of the Arcane Labyrinth, you can just sweep it like I did. It makes it super, super convenient time-wise to go ahead and bust that out. The 4 factions, Light Bears. Oh, okay. Well, we can cover that, Veldex. I just came back after 2 years. Is it worth starting a new server or continuing from like level 38? I would just continue. I know you get a lot of the welcome back rewards, but 38, yeah, 38 stages. Yeah, you'll get a lot of rewards coming back. I would just keep going. I mean, you're talking that's a lot of progression you're going to be missing if you start over. You could if you have the time. Is it going to be worth it? It might be, just because of all the possibilities to really build up the wish list early game to do it. Yeah. And of course, the servers. So that's the other thing I wanted to make sure that we are still farming this. We have, what, 2 minutes out of this. So I'm going to leave this one. Again, no premium ore that is available. And we only had 2 minutes on the old one. So I'm going to hop over here and we'll farm out this one. Yeah, because the other thing is when you look at older servers are going to have older players. Older players are going to have much bigger accounts. So even looking here at the Arena of Heroes, because I have a old account, because we're on an old server, this requires 10 teams for the LC tournament. That's right. When you start looking at Gigo is doing well, but look at this, guys. 10 teams of heroes. When you start, again, I believe this is based on the server release, and there we go. There's the Awakened version of Montandra, but it really does make a big difference on the newer servers are going to have younger players. And if you're running competitive, if you're running to build them out, it'll be a lot easier of a go versus an account that you haven't played in 2 years as far as the server. Now, if you're going in there, your own progression, because I'm thinking even after 2 years is when you go into PvP, when you go into, let's say here, you're going to be so far behind at this point because the heroes have 2 years progression on you. You're probably not going to catch up PvP wise. Not 100%. No, 100% started a new server. There you go. Going to go over some of the games and teams. I only really know the old ones, like the Lockout Squad. So a lot of them are, and we talked about this a little bit, Slim, is the easiest way to do it is the teams don't really have a lot of very, very specific builds that they're using. Going through the formations, going through this recommended tab, and it's hard as well, Slim, because I don't know what heroes you have built, and I don't know what heroes you have built to what levels, because when you come in here, when you do the recommended formations tab, as you can see right here, you can copy the formations in here, and this tab is going to produce the team comps based on heroes you have. So that is really the big thing, Slim, is when you come in here, I could say, yeah, you know, your formation should run the Awakened version of Montandra. If you don't have the hero, it doesn't really make a big difference. This has kind of replaced the staple formations that we see. And even looking at a lot of the variations, because a lot of times, like Mahiro was always run, again, old school comps with like, with right here with Khazard. Khazard has since went to different teams for crowd control. We've seen a few different variations for the heroes. But if you go through and you look at formations, and if you go through and you look at formations, honestly, at a couple different levels, you'll see that there are a lot of very similar formations and players or heroes that are running together. but it also is very, very dependent on the heroes that you have in there, which is hard. As full to play, it's hard. Punish forever, yes. Free to play, you have to be very, very specific and very intentional when it comes to building out all of your heroes. When it comes to making mistakes, yes, free to play, it can be detrimental if you're running in there, and if you do make some mistakes, it can be really, really tough. You'll scare up relatively fast. Yeah, and that's it. PvP rewards is where you're probably going to lack. I like Tarnos I like as well. Again, not seeing a lot of play out of Tarnos right now, but again, we reset our Wukong right there. We're building copies. Tarnos was a very, very unique hero in like the totems or the pillars that he drops. PvP wise, he just absolutely crushed it, which was kind of crazy. And every now and then, we're still seeing him kind of show up every now and then. I want to not be free to play, but unfortunately, Google Play cards don't work in my country. Oh, there you go. So you wanted to buy something, you couldn't do something. Bobo, if you want to VPN to another place, you can. It's kind of crazy, but you can. Honestly, and down below, guys, if you guys use the Pluto Mall, I know a lot of players that do buy stuff within AFK Arena. If you do use the Pluto Mall, they give you a discount. That is one of the big reasons. Now, a lot of players also ask what I buy in here. And honestly, it's very, very simplified. So I buy the monthly cards. As you can see, we bought these yesterday. So we have 30 days on this. I buy this subscription, which is $2.99. In here, the Champions of Espria, we bought out the cores. Twisted Bounties, I bought out the Pokecoins, and that's it. So even then, I didn't buy out the second pass in here, the second 1999 pass. So we dropped that out. So that takes our running about $80 a month. The rest of this, I don't buy out. Even the advanced ship, we didn't buy anything out of here. We did buy the two, of course, new dimensional heroes because we didn't want to wait for them. But as far as everything else, not really buying out anything at this point. Like I said, we're about $80 that we spend every single month, and that's it. So we are pretty set in what we spend. It's very limited to what we spend in here. Again, running around $80 a month is where we're keeping it. Now, of course, this is where you make up and you get all of your return. When you start going through the events, even if you're not one of the top performing players in the events, going through the Temple Rift, going through the Isle of Gold, going through everything in here is really just an accumulation of resources. Guys, there's 1,300 diamonds. Even looking at what we've accumulated so far, we're gonna break well over 10,000 diamonds in here. This is almost a whole nother level with Essence. 60,000 Labyrinth tokens, 6,000 Pokecoins. The Pokecoins in here need to be really jacked up a lot. And I don't attack. I haven't attacked anyone in here as of right now. I don't like the pillage feature. I know I could get a little bit more in there. But yeah, I haven't even bothered. I haven't bothered to even go in there. Then, of course, going through the Arcane Labyrinth, going through the Voyage, going through everything that we have in AFK Arena. Even staying up, once you do get caught up with all of the thrilling voyages, when you go through the Hunter's Notes, you know, it just takes a little while to get caught up with everything. And once you're caught up, once all of those are complete, you can sit back and relax a little bit. Once you do have a lot of that grinding done, again, it just does take a little bit. Now, looking at the Beast Ground, we were talking about this yesterday. So right here, I have the Slumbering Seal at 72, but I'm going to swap in some other ones in here. I'm going to drop out the Seal. I'm going to put in Talisman in here. I'm going to drop out. I'm going to put, I was thinking Eris, but you know what? I might put in the Winged Lion. Let's keep the Owl in there. We'll do some summons in here. And as you can see, guys, we have a ton. We have a ton in here. And I don't know at what point are they going to add more levels to the resonating level. Are they always going to keep it to 18? A lot of players were also saying, and there we go, there's another copy. A lot of players were also saying that they might add something additional to Beast. I don't know. Yeah, 7K Beast food. Yes, I haven't done this in a long time, guys. Once I got to 18, that was kind of the point where I quit using a lot of the Beast food. It's just been kind of accumulating in here, so I figured we could run through it pretty quick because we do have a lot in there. And we're getting a ton of copies of our cute little unicorn dragon. And of course, we do have a bunch of the baits over here. Wish I could donate it to you guys. Can I ask which dimension should I get in the Labyrinth store? Right now in the Labyrinth store, I believe it is Stu Mulan. That is really the only one that is worth getting right now is Mulan. The rest of them, not really as much in here. You know what? Let's go. We'll grab one of these. But yeah, Mulan would be the only one. Most of them, unfortunately, outside of Mulan are not being used. When you look at Joan, sometimes Joan is going to be used, but not a ton of utility with a bunch of the different heroes. We're not seeing it like we used to. We used to see it, used a lot of times, and really it was used for a lot. A lot of the heroes were used. Yeah, Mulan is one that is still being used. The rest of them kind of in a sub formation, maybe, but not really seeing it. Iris, really wish come to the game. Joan of Arc, yeah. Joan of Arc is good, but again, oh yeah, Mulan is the challenger store. Yeah, so Labyrinth store, Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc would be the one, which again, I really hesitate because in there, if you're getting Joan, chances are Joan you're not going to use a ton. And is it going to be worth honestly getting other resources out of there, getting, your engraving mats, getting your red chests out of there instead of picking up the hero? It could be worth it. Now, also remember, if you're looking for Rimuru, if you're looking for Shuna, you definitely have to. I think Wukong, Wukong is horrible. Wukong is one that, again, I just used for the exchange in there, and I don't even know where we're at. I'm not even paying attention to our baits in here because we know we're getting a few copies, and I think I have, 6 already? We still have another 2,000 in here, but I'm wondering, there we go. We got one right there. Let's go ahead and I think I'm going to do another one. Let's throw another one on there, but I'm thinking, who else were we building? I don't think we've gotten really any. One for Talisman, and I think that's the other one we're building out of there. But again, we have 6 more, so we can add another level on there when we build them through. And I wanted to systematically build these because if we have a higher beast resonance at some point, it's going to be interesting to see if it goes from like 18 to 20 or 18 to 22, or if there's going to be something higher to essentially build the beasts out a lot higher. I don't know. I don't know what might what might come in the future when it comes to beasts. Honestly, it's kind of a question mark, but I think we're about done. There we go. We have 40 more. We have 8 of our secret spices sitting right here, and I think we got 21. Boom, just adding more stats in a bunch of different game modes. And of course, a lot of these beasts, unfortunately, not being used very much at all. But I want to get them to 22. 22 was kind of the goal. And again, we'll take them to 22, then we'll kind of move up from there on where we are from there. I think Wukong, yeah, Wukong is not good at all, Paul. No, Wukong is not really used anywhere. But completing at least one dimensional from Lab Store make you able to get the emblems. Yes, that is the big reason. So when you go in here and you look at the Labyrinth Store, if you're completing out the heroes, you have the ability to buy emblems of space. These are one of the most important because, of course, when you look at every single dimensional hero we have, they're going to take these. This is going to save you red chests by using these emblems of space, which, of course, is very, very intuitive because you want to save the resource that you can. Now, of course, Dragon Isle. This is another one where the Dragon Isle, we go up to 9. We cannot get past 9. We have tried and tried and tried. 9 is literally the brick wall that we have hit forever. I'm going to go ahead and we got a couple more insignias out of here. I've still been trying to get more copies of Gwen. I feel like if we can get Gwen one more single copy, we can build her up. Then, of course, Hilduin is coming with essentially the next iteration. We'll get Hilduin. That'll take him to Ascended, which will be good. But we need these copies of Gwen. We absolutely do need these copies of Gwen. I'm in chapter which I need 5 teams. What engraving and signature item do you need? And Thorin, yeah, Thorin is signature 30. No engraving. Do not engrave Thorin at all. Mine is engraved, which it shouldn't be. But overall, yes, plus 30 signature item. If you can put furniture on Thorin, it does work well just because of what the furniture does bring. But yeah, the Thorin cheese, the 30 signature item is all that you need. And again, guys, we haven't done 2. Haven't got lucky on the summons, but let's see. Can we do it? Boom. Can it be a copy of Gwen? I don't think it is. I do not see the lights. It is not a copy. No more diamonds out of there. So unfortunately, not another copy in there. But I'm wondering if... Oh, let's hop in and look at this. Let's look at the advanced ship, which I think they're all gone at this point. But where did they put in some more? There's the Blazing Bundle. And I'm wondering if we're going to have the ability to get any of the insignias. I haven't even looked to see the price or see what the possibility is to pick up any of the Draconis insignias, or are they just not in here as of now? They got to have them somewhere. I'm positive they got to have them somewhere. Could we even build them out? I know we got a hero in there. Just thinking of the summons. Yeah, I'm wondering, did the Draconis insignias leave in their entirety? Now, of course, VIP 1 is in there. Advanced ship. Again, they are gone at this point from here. I don't know if we can buy any of the insignias. That's kind of interesting. There has to be a place, though. I can't see them drop them out. I filled up my inventory with lab tokens, shell. Yeah, the grind is absolutely... Yeah, the dragons are super hard. Getting the insignia short of buying them, good luck. There's really no way to do it. And again, I've just been grinding up to 9. I cannot get past 9. I tried for days and days. That I wasn't able to at all. I have 35 Stargazer cards. Should I pull for someone? I have Liberta, Lucilla, Demia, and Lavatune. Those are honestly the primary ones. If you already have all them built, there's not going to be a ton outside of those 4 that are really being used. You could start going more kind of the back row when you look at a hero like right here with Vithio. But again, I don't know how much longer they're going to be used, but most of those, you have the primary ones. Those are really the big ones that you're using that I would see. Do we know if Awakened Untandra is meta or not? She's being used in a couple different places, Louise. I feel like there's going to be a lot more places as she finds a spot. Is she going to be meta? I honestly think that she is going to be used in a lot of different places. Yeah, I feel like she is. I feel like it's going to take a little bit of time, again, to find out exactly where she is, but she is going to be there. But yeah, Liberta, Athalia, there's a couple of heroes in there that are 100% that are just the absolute priority. Let me make sure we do the gifting and the membership, because I think we're coming up on the 9 o'clock hour. So I want to make sure that we're doing the membership giveaway. We do this every time we do a stream. And of course, thank you guys for joining me for this early stream. But let's see what we have in here. Let's pop open some of these chests. We have quite a few. Want to make sure that we're going in here and we're finishing out the Mystic Star Zone. We want to make sure that we're carrying our team, because you really have 2 things. Either, guys, one, you're going to be a hindrance to the team and you're not going to be carrying any of your weight. You're not going to be carrying any of your score. You want to be the opposite. You want to be the one that is at least going in there and maxing out everything that you can every day, because it is the collaboration effort. And I'm hoping that a lot more stuff is going to be coming down the pipeline when it comes to guilds. And I really feel like that's going to be it. And it has been kind of a big miss for AFK Arena. If you followed me on AFK Journey, they did the guilds very well, the battle drills, all of that, giving the ability for essentially players to work together as a team, giving a reason to be in larger guilds. They really do need it. And Asta, congratulations. Who do you think is a much higher priority, Sophia or Gavis? I would say Sophia. And the reason being support and, of course, an Awakened hero. I feel like utility-wise, the Awakened version of Sophia is going to have a lot more utility and going to have a lot more longevity than we're going to see with Gavis out of there, definitely. 35 shot is not guaranteed for 1 copy. Yeah, you should go for Demia, because 1 copy could be useful. Is it good to buy Robin Hood? Eventually, I feel like Robin Hood is being used, still used in a couple places, but again, kind of very niche informations. And if you're a player that doesn't have Robin Hood, not going to be really a game changer for missing it. Got the gifted membership. Yeah, I don't know, because the gifting membership, I can't choose who it goes to. It is literally random for anyone who is in the stream at the time that we gift it. I wish I had the membership luck in the Stargazer. There you go. So got the little silver hippo right there. These, of course, we just go ahead and sweep. This is just going to give us some chests, but it's also going to give us all of our guild coins, which, of course, we use in here in the guild store. And do we have enough? We are short to get that other copy of Eugene. Eugene, we're building all the way up. And then, of course, dimensional gear. If we have dimensional gear in here, and I do have some coins, I'm picking up the dimensional gear. But Eugene is the one that we're building out. And I think I have him at 1 star. I don't know how many extra copies we've bought. 1, 2. Oh, that'll take him to 2 stars. So the next copy will take him up to 2 stars. And again, we're starting to build and finish out the rest of our Awakened heroes. And I'm almost wondering if by the time we get the next Awakened hero in the Temple of Time, I feel like we're already going to have a ton of our Temple of Time emblems. So I'm almost questioning using some of these to actually build them out. Now, I don't recommend, again, this to anyone, but possibly popping in the Awakened version of Chimera, using a couple of these, let's say 100 or two, to build her out with a couple more stars, get some more resources out of here, and then essentially save everything out for the new one that is going to be coming. I don't know. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that, because I think I might just save them, but in the same aspect is just saving them forever, where I know we get a new one, we can take the new Awakened hero all the way up to essentially with the Awakened version up to Ascended, and then we're still going to have a bunch of cards left. I don't know. We have Belinda, Solus, Athalia, Chimera, Sophia, Leica, and Eugene. You have all of the key ones. I would wait. I would wait and see where Entendre falls. Honestly, it seems like Entendre is going to be a good one. Yeah, the next Wilder Graveborn is going to be coming down the pipeline, so you're going to, of course, have to have resources for that, which we've already started saving. Even looking down here, we've started saving, 368 of our red chests will give us the plus 30 signature item, but also looking at the engraving mats, looking at our cores, we are starting to save for the next hero, because I overspent on a ton of heroes, especially taking Entendre all the way up to that 60, plus we took Rimuru and we took Shuna up to the 60, which again makes a big difference. And even looking at Shuna, I built Shuna over the 60. If you guys remember, I did build Shuna up a little bit higher. That is why she has scored so high right there. We built her up to the 67 just based on the recommendations of adding some more skills and abilities in there to make her viable. And again, being used in a lot of different places, which is pretty cool to see that we're having new heroes come out. And of course, they're having a lot of utility. But guys, when you think big picture, we have like, what, 160 plus heroes into AFK Arena. It is crazy to think how many heroes we have in this game and how far this game has come in the last 5 years. It's awesome. I really do like it. I hope they make Awakened Kaz. She deserves a good build after the insult she received. Yeah, so if you look back though, Kaz was one of the ones that got reworked. Shuna needs that 60. So the big thing is Shuna with stats. So very similar to what we see with the other Awakened heroes or with the support heroes is the stats. A lot of the abilities in here are based on the stats that the hero does possess, which is the big reason. That's right here. Each heals the ally for 150% of the attack rating. Higher attack rating, the more effectiveness that you're going to have in the hero. And of course, looking at the 60 ability in here, which is the second one, every 2 counter spells, she gets the insight. Again, stat-wise is why a lot of players have said the optimal build in her is a 67, which is kind of what we built her to. Kaz, one of the most annoying. Yeah, Kaz was a nightmare. If you guys remember earlier, Kaz was an absolute nightmare because of the magic dodge and also the ability to pretty much one-shot heroes. I don't know what they're going to do with Kaz and what they're going to bring her back, but it is pretty cool. Community tab, I don't use that at all. It pops up with our little red thing. Even chat. Guys, I do not use chat at all. I mean, it is a cold day. Chat is very, very toxic. We got out of it years ago. We just use Discord now, which makes it incredibly easy. All right, guys, so I think we're at about time. I have Belinda, Chimera, Leica, and Liberta, 40 as free-to-play. Is there anyone specifically I should look at doing next? Belinda, Leica, Chimera, Athalia. Not really. That is kind of the trifecta of the 40. Yeah, that I absolutely would build. Flora is the worst. Yes, Flora was the worst. Flora, if you guys weren't familiar, guys, when you were level deficiency with running Flora, Flora was just an absolute nightmare because, of course, she would take to the sky and just wreak havoc on everyone, which is kind of crazy. Fun. Yep, so today we have a soccer game at 10, so I have 1 hour to get ready going to the soccer game. That is going to take us. Then I do have a work event that I'm going to today, which is from noon till, I believe, till 4 or 6. So again, literally my entire day is booked up for Sunday. We spent the last couple days doing a garage sale here, so it's been kind of crazy busy. And of course, like I said, today I probably 8 o'clock will be home tonight. So my whole entire day is not going to be playing any games. We're going to be kind of AFK from the gaming world. But yeah, definitely going to be a lot of fun today. Again, we have a work event that is going on, as well as the soccer game. It's my son's final soccer game today. So he'll be done for the season, so it's going to be really cool. But all right, guys, so that is going to do it for our stream. Thank you guys for joining me for the early morning stream. As always, guys, it is awesome to come in here and talk to you guys about about AFK Arena and being able to have conversations about it. Education-wise, it is awesome. We have a lot more that is coming down the pipeline. We know Entendre came. Going to be interesting, and a lot of players are kind of questioning what Dolly is talking about right here with the new line. A lot of players are, again, kind of questioning what is going to be coming with this one right here. I hear that dragons visited from that far island quite something. And again, some players are almost saying, I'm seeing an interesting fact, the fancy stuff they add to their drinks there. This is kind of a question, and I wish I could soar like them. Some players are saying this is going to be another draconic hero. So I don't know. I don't know. We're going to have to see exactly what is coming. I'm gliding through the skies without care. They're saying this is going to be another draconic hero that is coming, which is pretty early after the ones that we've seen. And then, of course, this is another one with the Inspector. I don't know. I don't know what to take it as. Again, there were a lot of questions over on Reddit and Discord about this, and seeing, because dedicated in the striking Inspector almost makes me think along the lines of like a light bearer hero, but it's going to be pretty questioning to be how they're going to do this. But all right, guys, so that is going to do it for today's stream. Again, thank you guys for joining me. I got to go get everything ready. And of course, thank you guys for watching.